Hello and welcome to easyodds.com. Now we're going back to the Premier League, thank God.
Although, let's have a big up of our own teams. Derby, Championship Derby, headed to West Brom to play Premier League West Brom, who are 8th in the league, beat them 2-1.
Easy.
Forget for tomorrow's special banquet store, get 3 $1 tickets.
Bristol City valiantly kept a clean sheet against Fleetwood at home.
Bristol City definitely got the better out of those two. Tom Ince free kick. I remember I was quite drunk, so coming back from Sandown, and I was just, we were 1-0 down, I just thought, well, whatever, we've lost this fight.
Lost, typical.
And then I look at it, Tom Ince, free kick.
Darren Bent scored a scorcher again.
Yeah, another great goal from Darren Bent scored from outside the box. That's got to be one of the first times he's ever scored from outside the box. It's got to be. West Brom were playing in the first game, actually, in the Premier League.
Yeah, it all ties in. Lovely stuff.
Spurs versus West Brom. Can Spurs be as good as Derby?
Can they be as good as Derby?
Although they're still probably not as good because they're playing at home and Derby had to play away.
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
But,
sorry, Spurs, you're just not as good as Derby.
No matter what happens, we're going to be better than Spurs in this game.
This is of course Tottenham versus West Brom, the early game, and Tottenham are unbeaten at White Hart Lane this season. They've quietly moved themselves up to 3rd in the Premier League table, but can they beat a West Brom side who are improving and keep their winning run going? I'm going to say my best tip in a minute, but firstly let's look at the betting odds for the 4-time result market, and the bookies make Tottenham huge favourites here. Best price of 1-3, Jake. It's small wonder why, because Pochettino's side have won each of the last 6 home games now. They're on a great run of 8 wins out of 9 in all competitions as well. Dele Alli is on absolute fire. He scored 8 goals in his last 8 games, and the defence have done well as well. They've actually only let in 5 goals in the last 9 games. So all those reasons, of course, coincide with them being 1-3 odds-on favourites here. However, they are winless in the last 4 matches against West Brom at home.
Okay.
West Brom have actually got a better head-to-head record in the league throughout history against Tottenham than Tottenham do. That's really surprising, but it's the truth, and that will give West Brom hope here. They're a big price, best price of 11-1 for a team who are in 8th up against a team in 3rd. 11-1 is a massive price, and that shows why you should compare the odds as well, because they're actually as short as 8-1 in some other bookmakers. So huge difference in price there. But my best bet here is going to be Tottenham to win and both teams to score. It's a Ross special. I really like this market. And the best price of 12-5. Tottenham are on a roll of late, and I think that they can break their recent Baggies hoodoo with an early win on Saturday. Tony Pulis loves these fixtures, Jake. He really likes to be the plucky underdog battling up against the big team and making them try and break down a back line of 6 or 7 players normally, and he tends to do well in these sorts of games, Tony Pulis, and that shows as well in the recent West Brom form at White Hart Lane. But they've only won 3 games away from home all season at the moment, West Brom, and they're up against a high-flying Spurs side at the moment, so I fancy a home win. But I do think that West Brom will score, just because Tottenham's last 2 goals that they have conceded have come from set plays, and with Gareth McCauley and Salomon Rondon in their team, they're going to be really dangerous from set pieces. So I fancy West Brom to score, but Tottenham to win. Best price of 12-5.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think Spurs have an outside chance of winning the title this season?
They definitely have a chance, but I've said this for a long, long time, and I just don't trust them. I just don't trust Tottenham to go on and actually win anything.
Okay.
They're a very good team. Don't get me wrong, they're a very good team, but I just get the impression that they are bottlers.
Yeah.
And so are the other side in North London as well.
That's how angry he is.
To try and even it out. I wouldn't be backing them, certainly. But they're going to win this game.
Yeah. that's a guarantee. Dele Alli, he just does it when it's easy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He doesn't when the pressure's on. For England, he was awful. So same with Harry Kane. So annoying. All of these talents. Is it Dele Alli scored more goals than anyone under 21 or something?
In his first 50 Premier League games.
Yeah, in his first 50. Yeah.
talking about England internationals, there's an interesting anytime price here. Kyle Walker obviously bombs on from the right wing back position. Sometimes gets in the goals. He's the best price of 12 to 1 here, which is far better than the 7 to 1 elsewhere. So if you're looking for one of those highlighted prices where you can get the best possible value from easyodds.com, Kyle Walker is your man. A huge difference there between 12 to 1 and 7 to 1.
Huge difference. Okay, next up is Premier League champions Leicester versus Chelsea, who obviously lost their unbeaten run recently. But
Still doing pretty well, aren't they?
they're still doing alright. They're not doing too badly. And Leicester, of course, as well. Champions League, one eye on the Champions League probably at the moment, because that's their only thing that they're doing well in. But so Leicester-Chelsea.
Yep, huge game. Obviously, it's the champions against the former champions. And there's a little bit of added spice here because it could well be N'Golo Kante's first match back at the King Power.
Mm-hmm.
He was due to play there in the EFL Cup game earlier this season, but he was wisely left on the bench because it would have just caused all kinds of problems. He would have got a bit of stick, but by this point, I'm thinking the Leicester fans probably won't even mind too much that he's gone. It's all history now. But let's look at the latest bet team for this match in the full-time result market. They've now lost their winning streak. Had they beat Tottenham, they would have had the longest winning streak in Premier League history. But sadly, they fell one match short. Tottenham did very well in that game, of course. But they're still 13 to 20 odds-on favourites to beat the champions at the King Power this weekend. These sides have actually already met in the EFL Cup, which I've alluded to earlier, and that match was actually a 2-2 draw. Leicester got a really early 2-0 lead, but managed to throw it away and then lose 4-2 in extra time. So you could argue here that actually 13 to 20 is actually a really short price because they're actually 11 to 10 back in September and failed to win then with a full-strength team. So 13 to 20 is probably a little bit short, I would argue. Leicester have had a very disappointing season so far, of course. They had an out-of-this-world season last season. And of course they will be missing key players Riyad Mahrez, Daniel Amati and Islam Soleimani due to the African Nations Cup, and those players actually account for 9 goals and 6 assists this season, so they're key players for Leicester, and they do have a slight hope in the fact that Claudio Ranieri, of course former Chelsea manager, he was unbeaten against his former side last season. He won 2-1 at the King Power and drew 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, and in 90 minutes this season in the EFL Cup he didn't lose there either, a 2-2 draw. So you can back them in the full-time result market at a best price of 5 to 1, which is similar to the price to what Leicester were when they played Man City, and they blew Man City away.
Yeah.
So who knows? 5 to 1 could well prove a big price.
Yeah. Leicester are playing Derby in the next round of the FA Cup, so they're likely to be out of that.
They'll have more than one eye on Derby.
They might be saving a couple of players for the big Derby game at the weekend, but they're more likely to. So they're going to be out of the FA Cup in the fourth round when they lose to Derby. And then they've got nothing to play for other than the Champions League. They're going to really struggle without Mahrez and that, aren't they? Even though he hasn't been great.
Although they did do rather well without the African Cup of Nations players on the weekend, where they went to Everton and won 2-1. So don't count them out.
That's a superb result, actually, isn't it? Anyway, what's your recommended bet for this game?
My recommended bet here is a really nice price here of even money on Diego Costa to score a goal. Costa's now scored 2 in his last 3 Premier League games against the Foxes, although both of those have been at Stamford Bridge, so he's due one at the King Power. Leicester have now conceded 6 in their last 7 home games, so they won't fancy playing the Premier League's top scorer. He loves to get involved in physical encounters, so a relish playing against Morgan and Huth, who will give him everything that they've got.
Yeah.
And he will also have Hazard and Pedro supplying great service for him as well. So he's likely to get at least one great chance, and with the form that he's in, he's likely to take it. So even money is a really good price because he's also available at as short as 3 to 4 elsewhere. So get the even money price there on a Diego Costa goal.
Good price. Good. Okay, Everton versus Man City. You alluded to they lost the FA Cup.
Yep.
At home to Leicester, which is obviously a bad result. We're expected to win that game, and now they're playing Man City. So, how are they going to do this one?
It was going to be interesting. Everton are wildly inconsistent. So to have a back-to-back result, so to either draw 2 games in a row, lose 2 games in a row, or win 2 games in a row, they haven't done that since October They're wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
They're a WLD kind of team. So it's going to be interesting. I have already said that they lost 2-1 in the FA Cup to Leicester, so they hardly could come into this game on a confidence-boosting performance. And the bookies have made Man City the favourites to win this Premier League fixture with a best price of 17-20. Everton are winless in their last 7 Premier League games against Man City, so it's little surprise that the citizens are favourites. Everton have picked up just 4 victories in the last 17 games, and pressure started to now build on Ronald Koeman. Whilst their performances haven't been terrible, their results are just wildly inconsistent, as I've said. But they can take heart from the fact that 6 of their 9 wins this season have come at home, so they're better at home than they are away. If you consider them to win here, they're a best price of 18-5, which I think is quite short, because they are just so inconsistent. They beat the likes of Arsenal at home, but then they'll lose to the worst team in the world. So 18-5 for me is a little bit short. I'm going to be backing over 2.5 goals here. I think Everton have scored in all but 2 of their home matches this season, so they score at home, and 3 of the last 4 games at Goodison have seen over 2 goals scored, which is of course what we need for this bet to land. So I fancy more goals to be on the cards on Sunday. There have been 12 goals scored in the last 4 games between these sides on Merseyside, and that's an average of 3 a game. So again, that's all the goals that we need for this bet to land. So 8-11 appeals here. Man City have scored 5 on the road last time out against a pitiful West Ham team in the FA Cup, and they will give their attacking players plenty of confidence to go out and score more goals this weekend, especially as the Toffees have only kept 3 clean sheets in the last 12 games.
Yeah.
So goals are on the cards here. I think 8-11 is a decent price.
Nice, like that from fantasy team as well.
Absolutely.
Are there any time?
Absolutely, there are. Goals are on the cards, so let's pick out someone. And Romelu Lukaku always scores on Sky, he seems to. If Everton aren't on Sky, don't back him to score a goal. But if they're on Sky, back him to score a goal. 7-4 anytime scorer he is, and a slightly worse price of 11-8 elsewhere. And he's also actually scored 3 of the last 5 Everton goals against Man City. So when they play these 2 teams, he tends to get a goal. So, and they're on Sky, so that's important. So Lukaku 7-4.
He loves a goal.
Yeah.
He loves a goal against Man City, especially. Now, the big game of the entire weekend is up next. The old rivalry between Manchester United and Liverpool. Sky Sports 1, Sunday, 4 o'clock. I'm assuming... Oh, Liverpool haven't been in great form, have they, recently? So, Man United are at home, so they're the favourites, right?
Absolutely, yeah. They're favourites. Man United, 6-5. Liverpool 14-5. Nice price that.
Yeah.
And the favourites to win this game are Man United, of course. Because of the rebuilding at Old Trafford under Jose Mourinho in recent weeks, they've done so well recently that they've won 9 matches on the bounce. They're on an amazing 15-match unbeaten streak. They're available at 6-5 using our odds comparison service, and it will be their 68th league victory over Liverpool if they win this game. So they've been there and done it in this fixture. Liverpool absolutely bossed Man United last season in the Europa League game, and it was only a 2-0 win in the end. It should have been much, much more. But they were the victim of the Jose Mourinho bust earlier in the season in that really dour 0-0 draw. But Jose Mourinho had a game plan and implemented it really well. So it's going to be an entirely different Man United performance here. They're the home side. They're the side in form, and for that reason, I think Man United will actually win this game.
Okay.
I think they played a game plan to keep a clean sheet at Anfield. They're not going to play that kind of style of football at Old Trafford. And there's a definite argument that Jurgen Klopp's heavy metal football is a big reason that they've really struggled in this period of football where there's been so many fixtures in a short space of time. You cannot play that kind of football and expect players to recuperate in time. They've got a thin squad in terms of first team players, so they're having to play players that aren't really 100% fit, and they can't play the kind of style that Klopp wants, and I think that's a big reason why they haven't been getting the big results, as well as missing Sadio Mane, who's off to the African Cup of Nations. They do have a bit of hope in the fact that Philippe Coutinho is back from injury, but he's only just back, so he's not quite back at his former self at the moment. So I think with Man United creating so many chances at the moment, and they've only conceded 8 goals in the last 15 matches, so they're defence has sorted itself out as well. I just can only see a Man United win.
I like that. 6-5, short and sweet.
Yep.
Are there any time?
Yeah, I just think finally the post is going to not stop Paul Pogba from scoring a goal. He seems to hit the woodwork every single week at the moment.
He does.
Hit an absolutely sublime free kick in midweek that was really unlucky. It hit the post and came out. And he's playing well. Some of the passes that he played in midweek in particular were great. There was a lofted through ball through to Wayne Rooney that was absolutely amazing from kind of 35 yards out. Really impressed with him of late, and I think that he could be a game winner here. He's a worse price of 2-1, but you can get a far better price of 13-5 if you fancy a Paul Pogba goal.
Okay, I think I do fancy a Paul Pogba goal.
Good.
He has been so much better recently, hasn't he?
It's crazy.
Okay, so that's that, isn't it?
That is that.
They're the 4 games.
Yeah.
Let's quickly go through the tips.
Let's do it.
Where did we start?
So we started with Tottenham up against West Brom.
Yep, what did you go for?
We're going for 12-5, Tottenham to win and both teams to score.
Yes. Next.
And then we're going for the Leicester-Chelsea game, where we're backing Diego Costa goal, even money. Next up, we've got a over 2.5 selection in Everton v Man City, best price of 8-11.
Okay.
And last but not least, Man United to beat Liverpool at Old Trafford 6-5.
Woo! Yeah.
Fourfold in the house.
Did it. Done it. Finished.